We're going to be doing that drawing shortly. All right, let's go back to some of these questions.
And are we going, and so are you going to put the banner across the bottom, Carrie?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Let me see. The banner is
For anyone
right
who
now.
Comes in mid.
Here we go.
Hashtag life.
Yeah, well, I have that banner too. Let me see if I have that one. Here we go. Hashtag life. It's on the bottom of the screen for 1 month free membership to healinghumanity.life. We have a $10 super chat from our good friend Chris Stearns. Do you guys believe carnivore will just settle you at the weight your body wants to be healthy without forcing it because you want to be skinnier for some crazy reason? I will defer to the others, but I'll say really quickly, I think you're onto something there. I do feel like that. I feel like that for myself. What Ashley said earlier, he fluctuates between these two weights. I'm the same thing. I got down to my goal weight and it's like 5 pounds, and it's always, and thinking of our good friend Jeff DeProsperous, I remember him talking about this. He did 50, nearly 50 5-day water fasts. And his body, I would have thought, like, if I would do 50 5-day water fasts, that I'd be just skin and bones, right? Like nothing. And he would always be right at that same weight. He would drop a couple pounds during the fast and he would gain it back. And he had this target weight right in the middle, and it would always go back to that same weight. Like that was his natural sort of weight. So I do feel like to some degree we get to a certain point. I guess if you're doing fairly strict carnivore, maybe as the caveat.
Yeah,
I know
but there's
some people,
but there's other things. There's other things too that affect your weight. So I think that, yes, it goes a long ways towards achieving that, but you can't ignore things like your stress levels, the amount of sleep you're getting. So there's definitely other and environmental factors. There's, be like me, I have sensitivities to the environment where it tends to give me reactions. And so sometimes you're a little more inflamed than others. So there's definitely some other factors, but I think that doing carnivore properly is going to lend itself to getting you as, most of the way, I personally think. But don't ignore stress, sleep. You may need sunshine, fresh air.
Absolutely. All right.
And exercise.
Next question.
Yes.
Carla said, I think we answered that one already. Sorry. Carla had a second question. Here we go. Any meetups close to Omaha?
And I put a response to that in the chat. So if you didn't see that, we love, and we're just kind of getting started on these meetups, I think. I mean, it's something that we want to continue doing. And we don't have anything planned for Omaha just yet. But if you are interested in it coming to your area at some point, one of the things that we have found from the meetups that we've done is there's a lot of nuance to the local communities and traffic patterns and, where everything's at. So we'd love to have some insider information from those of you who are on the ground. And so if you want to email me directly, I'm trying to put together a little bit of a database of where people are located at so that I can reach out if we end up deciding on what, coming to your area. So my email address is ashley@healinghumanity.movie. That's ashley@healinghumanity.movie. And I'm tracking all that. We based these first meetups around the importance of what we're doing with the documentary and the filming that Adam and Carrie have left to do. And we're trying to prioritize the last bit, because obviously that's what we want to do. So those locations were specific for some of the people that we're filming, like Laura Spath in Arizona, Laura and Chris Spath. And we've got one with Dr. Baker planned in the Seattle area in June. And so some of these last little bits that we need to get finalized is based on that. And then after that, I think we're planning on just going as many locations as we can, as fast and furious as we can, because there's going to be a lot of excitement building up around this movie and the documentary actually coming out.
Absolutely. Healing Humanity World Tour. All right. Comment from Marilda. I'm so blessed to see Dr. Kiltz connected with Healing Humanity. God has your back. Your motives are pure. Oh, thank you so much. We are so blessed to have Dr. Kiltz, all of his wonderful support. It's incredible. So thankful for him. Aunt B said, Lynn, midlife carnivore, hello. I'm glad you are here. I'm sure I will enjoy your information. Shout out, Lynn.
Thank you.
Stevie said, my new BMI scales hurt my feelings today. Nice. Christine.
Sometimes the truth hurts, right?
Sometimes it does.
They hurt my feelings all the time.
Right. Been there.
Been
Christine
there.
is looking for carnivores near Springfield, Illinois. Springfield, Illinois.
Wow.
Shout out.
That's
Maybe,
the other. I got to say, that's the other thing that's kind of cool about that, because everybody who came to that Chicago meetup, and I don't know where Springfield is, maybe Kerry knows that since he's closer up in that area, but there was a lot of carnivores that met for the first time going, hey, I didn't realize you're in this area. You're in this area. And those connections are made like that too at those meetups, which is so fun. And then you can form little communities within your area and get together every month if you want to, or whatever frequency you guys determine. That's what we've started doing in the Dallas area. When I went to Austin, I met Nia, and we've just decided to try and do a meetup every once in a while for everybody who's in the Dallas area. And so, it's just fun hanging out and getting together. So that's one of the other cool things about it. So I love that you're asking those questions.
And don't forget, on Healing Humanity Life, there are state groups. So you can get on there and find your state group and find people within your state as well.
Yeah. And as we grow, there's going to be more and more people to find within this group. And you can plan meetups together. And
Yep.
Question from RJ. I'm feeling good eating beef, butter, bacon, eggs for 6 months. Do you recommend continuing electrolytes?
I didn't use electrolytes after a month. Once in a while, I might feel like I need them, but I felt good. I'm BBB2, and I don't use electrolytes at all anymore. Having said that, my husband still uses electrolytes at least 3 or 4 times a week. So try it without and see how you feel. And if you feel good, then I would stop using them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I second that one. I don't use any either. But I'm not adverse to it. If I'm going to do a bunch of workout in the hot sun or something, maybe I'll take a couple, or if I ever feel like I'm getting fatigue or muscle cramps or something, but it just never really happens. I have it there as an option though, but yeah, you can really see and feel how your body reacts a lot more when you're doing carnivore. So I'd try it out and see how you feel. Gary has a question. Do you guys count calories?
I liked Chris Stern's comment in the his response in the comments. He said, "What's a calorie?" So,
that's one of the things I love about carnivore. No counting anything. I don't count anything.
I have tracked this before though, just to get a feel, and like for a few days, just to get a feel for how much I'm consuming, because I know with myself, I have the tendency to undereat. And this is one thing where carnivore is different than other diets. In other diets, they tell you to restrict and they tell you to keep your calories under a certain point. I have found that, unfortunately, I naturally do that. And so I have to occasionally check in with myself, make sure I'm getting enough calories and not too little. And so from that perspective, sometimes is the answer.
I would second that in saying that I've said this a lot of times. I would never have started the carnivore diet if it was super restrictive like that. That's just not me. And I just don't want to count and do all that. That said, if you still have some issues, concerns, and things you're trying to figure out, I think there's definitely a time for that. I would say that's carnivore advanced. And that would be like where you're really trying to hone in and try and figure out what's making a big difference, what's impacting you, those kind of things. But I think the beauty of at least for me, when I started carnivore, was the advice that I got was eat until you're comfortably stuffed. I don't worry about counting that. Since then, I'll also throw in there, most people who have a hard time with it, you got to eat more fat. Make sure you're eating enough fat.
Yeah. And Chris is right. A calorie is meaningless because a calorie is just determined by burning the food and seeing how much heat it puts off. Our bodies don't burn food. We metabolize, we digest. So the way our bodies process food is different. We don't burn it like that. And so it's really kind of pointless to even use calories, but we do.
Right. Hey, I want to do a quick shout out. Ashley Carnivore Brothers. Ashley, what day are we on now? There's a lot of new carnivores here now. And Ashley has put together this series, 30 Days on Carnivore, where he's doing a video every single day. And I have really been enjoying these. And I've really been kind of like, man, I wish I had this when I first started Carnivore, just one of these to watch every single day. It's really an incredible series. What day are you on now, Ashley?
We are doing day 22 tomorrow.
Oh, you're getting there. You're on the home stretch.
Yeah, definitely. And so it's been a challenge, and I wish I had done this series earlier too. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and unfortunately, fortunately, I've enjoyed doing it, but I didn't plan ahead far enough to get this series done. So there's been a lot of pressure on me that I put on myself to get this done. But I think it's been awesome too, because I've just been totally invested in learning and researching and watching more videos and doing all that. And I just feel reinvigorated through it as well. So, and then the beauty of it, I love, which you get a lot of too, and I know this inspires you guys as well, but when you get the comments from people in there of the things that are helping in other areas that people are seeing improvements, and you're seeing some of that inspiration from other people, that just fires me up. I'm excited about it. It's been a fun series to do.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I highly recommend it for those that are watching. There's a link to Ashley's channel in the description at Carnivore Brothers. Go check it out. Subscribe, share it. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
So it's 30 days, right? It's 30 days of videos, because you didn't really explain what it is you're doing.
Started it at the beginning of the year, thinking there's going to be a lot of people, of course, that they're have waited to that New Year's resolution. All right, time to make a change. We're going to do this, and so it was just a 30-day challenge we put out there. It actually started on, I think my intro video was on the 1st, so the first day of the challenge was on the 2nd of January, and so we started those, and me and my brother have put those together, and he's contributed on some of the videos too, and it's been fun. But yeah, a video every day, just meant for motivation, encouragement, and then every day we talk about a little bit different subject of some things that we've learned over the last 2 years of being carnivore, and things that'll hopefully help you as you're digging in. And every time we also include video links in the description of some of the what I call the rabbit hole videos of the things that I got sunk into that rabbit hole as I dug further and further. And so it just made it easier for you to click on the link versus digging through yourself.
Good stuff. All right. We have a question from Tom. Recently told I have an aortic aneurysm, working on hormone issues and high ferritin at 69 years. Any suggestions to help bring down ferritin? I don't want to rust.
Well, I mean, ferritin is an iron storage hormone, protein. And I'd be wanting to know, like, did you get your iron levels checked as well? It tends to be an indicator of, a lot of times, inflammation, something else going on. So I would definitely want to know, like, is this the first time you had your ferritin level checked, or is it always high? Is it following an illness, something that happened that caused inflammation? It's always good with ferritin, and also depends on how high it is, but to just make sure you're getting, get a follow-up test to see how it's going. But the carnivore diet is will bring inflammation down. And if it is an inflammation response, it shouldn't have anything to do, with the aneurysm. But, and of course, the carnivore diet is very good. The high fat is very good for your hormone as well. I don't know, Renee, do you have any more feedback on the ferritin?
No, I think you did. I think you did good. I was in a meeting the other day with Dr. Kiltz, and I believe it was Dr. Kiltz. And, ferritin isn't, I think, if you don't have the hereditary high ferritin, where you actually have to go get like phlebotomies done and stuff to get the ferritin level down, that you don't have to worry as much about the ferritin, especially if all your other iron. And that's what Lynn was saying. It'd be interested to see what the rest of the iron study shows, because there's a whole panel for iron.
Yeah, it's definitely important to make sure that you get, it's not that you need to ignore it. Don't ignore it, but get the additional testing done. Usually what happens with your doctors, do it with the ferritin test. And if it turns out high, they're going to want to follow up and check your iron. But definitely be thinking about, like, okay, before I got this done, that could be why it's elevated. Is something else going on that could have made it elevated? I had a high ferritin level as well. And I had never had it. Well, I had never had it tested, and before I had my mast cell activation big flare. And so I had it tested before I got really sick, and it was normal. And then I tested it later on carnivore, it was high. But the whole thought with my naturopathic doctor is that we were suspecting it was on its way down when I had it checked. It was probably much higher. And so what happened was we did a 6-month follow-up, or maybe it was a 3-month follow-up, and it had gone down. So we have to kind of look at it in relationship to, you know, as a trend. So get follow-up, make sure your iron levels are okay.
All right. We are going to be doing a drawing for a free month of Healing Humanity. Use #life for a chance to win that. And if you don't win that, like I mentioned earlier, I know there's new people on here now, you can get 50% off your first month right now if you use the link in the description for healinghumanity.life. There's a promo code in there that'll give you 50% off. We have a question. I'm doing carnivore for over 2 years. My red blood count is a little high. Any advice?
Might need to drink more water, potentially. Any thoughts on that one, Renee?
I'd be interested to know what the hemoglobin hematocrit is if it's just the red blood cell count. But I agree, a lot of the times when they're a little high, I mean, a little, what is a little? Usually it's dehydration when you go and get your blood drawn.
Yeah. And typically your hemoglobin and hematocrit will also be a little on the high side at the same time. If your doctor is alarmed about it, definitely get, follow up. If your doctor's saying, oh, it's a little high, it may be that you need to drink more fluid. Or if you're drinking a lot of water, maybe you're drinking too much or you're eating too much. So kind of look at that, and it's maybe a hydration issue.
Hoosier Carnivore gifted 5 Homestead How memberships. Thank you so much, Brett. Really appreciate that.
And Carrie, we did have I don't know if you saw the question we got up a little higher. There's a question from MK_P.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Might have missed it.
Yeah, it was kind of in it was at 46 after the hour, whatever that is for you.
Let's see. MKP. Oh, here we go. The cheating question.
Yes.
Started carnivore yesterday, but I still wind up cheating. Any ideas on how to plan my meals will be helpful. I can take a shot at that one quickly. In terms of cheating on carnivore, well, it's good that you're trying to plan things. I think that's the biggest thing is if you don't have a plan, you may end up cheating more. So planning things out as much as possible, I think will really help. For me, what I found helps with cheating for myself and a lot of other people I talk to is really committing strictly to carnivore. Like if you're going to do carnivore, say for 30 days or 90 days, that you actually really do it for 30 days without keeping some of those old habits in place, I guess. For me, if I were to have diet soda or artificial sweeteners or a couple blueberries on the weekend, I would end up cheating because I would end up craving those things. And it would be hard for me to maintain carnivore. So that would be some advice. The other advice I would say is really be diligent, get a journal, write down your why and write down like, I'm going to do this for 30 days and write down every single day what you're eating, how it makes you feel, and just really commit to that for 30 days because I think you're less likely to cheat that way if you have a goal that is written down. You get to day 14 or something, you're thinking about cheating and you're looking at this big log and you look at all the hard work you did, and maybe you're less likely to do that. And I could go on for an hour on this one. The last thing I'll say is community is really important. Surround yourself by people that are positive and that are succeeding. And it's kind of hard being carnivore because you're sort of the odd one out. I'm not trying to sell you on our membership site, but there's free communities out there. There's a community for me initially was just free YouTube videos, watching Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Kiltz on YouTube. I mean, that's surrounding yourself by people that have succeeded. So those are some ideas I have. I don't know if you guys have any others to add.
Yeah, I actually talked about this in one of our recent videos in that 30-day series because I love what you hit. Planning ahead is really important because if you don't, you're going to, a lot of times, especially in those first couple of weeks, probably fall to the old habits because that's what's there and available. So, having that bacon on hand, pre-cooked, ready to go, that's an important one. Butter bites, which we'll be putting out a video on that here in the next couple of weeks, but little things like that, that's already ready to go. Some people even cook steaks ahead of time. When you're cooking a steak, cook two, and then have one, cut it up, have one ready to go in the fridge for when you get that temptation. You want to snack on something, grab a piece of the steak and eat that instead. So there's
hard-boiled eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs is another good one.
Bacon.
There's lots of ways to prepare and have those little snacks available to you, because that's the biggest thing. If you can if you can get past that 20-minute craving, you're usually pretty good. And then I love that one little bit of advice that I was given early on, and not everybody's capable of doing this right now, so I don't know your situation, but I loved the advice because it was funny. And that it was, before you grab whatever it is that's going to make you cheat there, do 20 jumping jacks and then see if you still feel like grabbing that little snack. That's your kind of your discipline right there. Get into something where you do something premeditated. Okay, this is what I'm going to do before I make that decision. And that'll help you get through that little craving.
And you may not be eating enough. I know that I have more cravings if I'm not eating enough. And I know initially when I first started, I didn't feel well, so I didn't feel like making anything. So those moments where I did feel good is when I prepared ahead of time. And, if you've got ground beef, make a whole bunch of burgers. If you got bacon, make the whole package or 2 packages, do the hard-boiled eggs. I had the Chomps beef sticks. I would have, whatever I could, knowing myself well enough to know that if I don't feel well, I'm not going to feel like making anything, and made it a habit of always defrosting more meat than I knew I'd need, so that I always had something on hand, and throw it in the air fryer. But know your kind of, I would say analyze under what circumstances are you cheating? Is it first thing in the morning? Eat a big breakfast. Is it later in the day? Maybe you didn't eat enough early on. And because I know that when you eat enough meat and fat, it's a lot easier because you tend not to be hungry.
Yeah.
I like to snack on pemmican. I eat a lot of pemmican.
Yep.
And you are going to, or you have a video yet on your channel on how do you
I have
pemmican?
You just put one out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I think. My wonderful husband was the one who did all the work. I just camered it. But yeah, it's out there. I eat a way higher fat pemmican than you can eat, than most people do.
I've been wanting to try that, so that one's on my recipe list to try.
Nice.
When I saw your video, I've never made pemmican before, but
I haven't either.
Pod Eater also suggested make sure you clear out the bad stuff from your house. Good tip.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be doing the drawing here. Just a minute for free 1-month membership to healinghumanity.life. So if you have any more questions, post them with #life so you can still get in on that drawing. We have a question from Linda. Breast cancer survivor, was always thin prior to treatment, but now 50 pounds overweight. Tamoxifen also keeps the weight on, and I must stay on it for the rest of my life. What can I do?
Continue eating the proper human diet. I know that unfortunately, tamoxifen, as a prior chemo nurse, there's some things that you don't want to mess with. But I would say to stick to carnivore. Lynn?
Would it be helpful to track macros for a little bit, make sure you're getting enough fat and not too much protein? Because that protein to fat ratio need to be tweaked, and sometimes you're not getting enough fat.
And I actually just started tracking my macros for the first time in 10 months because remember, I've been having this weight gain issue, and I've discovered that I'm only eating like 50 to 60 grams of protein a day. And I should be eating like 120 to 170 grams of protein a day for my height. So I'm way under eating, which is why I'm putting weight on. So I agree. Tracking for a little while, there's a free app. I'm using my Fitness Pal, I think. And does your macros for you. I put in that I want 80% fat and 20% protein. It tells me what I should be doing, but I set my protein goal. So now my protein goal is 150. It'll take me a long time to get there, but I'll get there.
Yeah, and the thinking is so counterintuitive to everything we've been taught about restricting. It's usually you're not eating enough, which is hard, especially for us women. I don't know. It's hard for men too, but I know that women, we tend to be really, it's something in your head, right? You gotta get out of that headspace of restricting.
Yeah, once you get rid of that sugar and carbs, it's really easy to undereat because and meat fills me up. So I've also discovered my metabolic rate is low. So I need to add more movement. You and I had this conversation last night, Lynn, about walking pads, because I haven't done anything to increase my metabolic rate. So that's what I'm working on too.
Yeah. Yeah. Working your muscles, mitochondria helps with, more energy used, more burning of the fat. So it's all a matter of, moving the muscles, put some resistance behind them, and make sure you're eating enough.
All right. Hey, we've got a celebrity in the house. Bill Knott has entered the chat. Welcome,
I was
Bill
wondering
Knott.
if you noticed why
Bill.
the chat was going crazy. There's Bill.
Yeah, it went nuts. The lights started dimming in here. I'm like, what is going on? Always be kind. That's appropriate for Bill Knott entering.
Love it.
Always be kind. Comment. Please consider donating plasma. My granddaughter has to have weekly sub-Q of gamma globulin to save her life. She has what the boy in the bubble had. It's a lifelong treatment. So consider donating. Good tip. I need to start doing it again. I used to years ago, and I haven't in a long time. When I had all my heart issues, they told me not to do it for quite a while, but now that I'm all recovered, I don't see any reason why I couldn't continue. Question from Gary. Is there an advantage to cooking burgers from thawed state rather than frozen?
Cooks faster.
Right.
Depends how hungry you are.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any difference other than that. I don't know.
I don't
know if there's any
wouldn't it affect the histamine level, Lynn? Like, the more meat thaws out, the more histamine it has when you cook it from frozen.
You may have been asking that based on what Lynn said earlier. Yeah, that's a good point.
And burgers in general have higher histamine than steak because they have more surface area. So if you are histamine sensitive and you want to eat burgers, then doing it from a thawed state is going to be a little bit better. But I don't know how measurable that difference is as far as histamine goes. So, taste wise, you got to make sure that they're cooked to your liking, and maybe a little bit of difference. But histamine wise, if you're trying to avoid higher histamine, don't let them sit out for sure. Cook them as soon as possible, as frozen as you can realistically.
If you're just asking on a general basis, I don't think there's any difference. It's just more about how long it takes to cook and how thick they are and whatever else. I mean, if it's a real big, thick burger, it's going to take a lot longer to cook if it's frozen. But yeah, I don't think there's that much difference. I cook a lot of the pre-made patties that are frozen, just throw them on there and they cook, relatively quickly. I don't thaw those ones out in advance, but anything else I usually thaw in advance.
Yeah. Yeah. Same for me. I have cooked many a frozen burger patty, usually tossing it in the air fryer. All right. Should we do a drawing here? We got a Healing Humanity 1 month membership we're giving away. Here we go. Let's see, here we go. So this person is about to win 30 days free membership to healinghumanity.life. And if you don't win, but you're interested, there's a link in the description below with the promo code to get 50% off. Humboldt, TPAMI. Congratulations. You have won.
Yay.
And Humboldt, in order to claim your prize, simply visit healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. And one more shout out, because I know there's a lot of new people on here now that didn't hear this earlier. We're giving away a $225 beef bundle. Shout out Independence Arc Farms All you have to do is go in the description and register for our email newsletter. We're going to randomly pick. We're doing that drawing 1 week from today, so you could win that. Some really good quality stuff they got going on there. If you want to learn more, you can visit independencearc.com. And for the next giveaway, how about we give away a travel size Redmond's salt shaker if you use hashtag salt with your question. Again, the rules are you have to subscribe to each of the individuals here on the call. There's a link in the description, and then just post your question with hashtag salt, and we're going to randomly pick. It's a $20 value. You get a little portable travel size Redmond salt with the little keychain thing, really convenient. Super convenient if you don't forget it at home like I always do, but if you put it on your keys and take it with. I keep going somewhere with the girls or Jen, and I never end up. We should have one on every single one of our keys, but for some reason we don't. But hashtag salt for that one. And
Congratulations.
there we go. Ashley's
It could be
prepared.
yours.
Great. All right, here we go. I'm going to set this up so we have hashtag salt going, done. And the next question we have, let's see here. Question from Frank. Male 65, strict carnivore, October 2023. Weight is up 12 kg since. Stalled now, greater than 85 kg. Height is 179 centimeters. Since switched to butcher meat, it's more money than supermarket, which I now know is laced with, yes, 11 grams per 100 G. Wow. All right.
Laced with, what's it laced with?
I don't know what yes is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Laced with yes. Frank, if you could send us a little more info. Sorry, I'm trying to run all the conversions from kg to pounds.
The metric system, right?
Centimeters over. If you could send us a little bit more info on that one, because it looks like that was a question. Here's a question from Booby
2
Goat.
pounds per kilogram. Booby Goats.
Are you having a good Thursday night? What's up? I'm having a great Thursday night. What about you guys?
I just love
Yeah.
the name Booby Goats.
Yeah,
I do
right.
too.
My night just got better.
The greatest YouTube username of all time, Booby Goats. I interviewed Booby Goats on my channel too, by the way. I was very busy, but I saw a request for an interview come in from Booby Goats. I'm like, let's do it. 100%.
Well, I know Booby Goats is always in the chat and contributing and great for the carnivore community. So love it.
Yes.
Stevie Wood asks, how accurate do you think Renfo scales are?
That's
Well, I only know what I've heard. I've heard they're actually pretty accurate compared to a DEXA scan. I've been using it since I started, and I know that the trends are very good. Like I don't see, and I check my metrics and I report on my metrics every Monday, and I don't see them jumping all over the place. So to me, that would be an indication that it's not giving me really good information. I see really decent metrics. And so how close it is to reality, I'm not 100% sure, but I do feel confident that it's giving me a good solid trend. And so that's the information that I look at, is to see where I'm trending. And I do see that if I, eat more and I eat enough protein, I see that my muscle mass is going up, and I see things that make sense. So from that perspective, I feel confident that it's giving me good information.
Good stuff. All right. We have a new member. Thank you so much. And
nice.
Super chat from Caleb. Hey, Caleb, how's it going? We met Caleb out in Arizona. Hi, everybody. How do you make your pemmican? Maybe a question for Renee on that one. I haven't made pemmican yet.
I'll give the down and dirty, because I think my video is like a half hour long. But we buy primal cuts of ribeye from Costco, and then the fat cap that's on there, there's like an end fat cap. We take and cut that off and render that down into liquid, which gives you tallow. And then we dehydrate ground beef, and I usually make my own ground beef for the pemmican with chuck roll. I'll grind chuck roll, And my husband dehydrates it low and slow. It takes like 12 hours to get it to where we want it to be. And it's like a potato chip. When you go like this, it cracks just like a potato chip. And then I put that in the Vitamix. There's always a replacement for every kitchen appliance you have when you're a carnivore. And the Vitamix now grinds my pemmican, my beef down into flour. And then we just mix the flour and the liquid tallow. And then I put it on a cookie sheet on top of parchment paper, put it in the fridge, and it sets up hard. And then I just kind of break it off like it's peppermint bark. It just breaks off like bark and I eat it. So usually most people make their pemmican 1-to-1. So for every pound of beef, you'd put a pound of tallow. I do mine 1/3 to 2/3 on the fat side, because I really want to get the fat. I'm healing an autoimmune disease and I'm trying to get myelin sheaths in my nerves to grow back. So the more fat I eat, the better it is. But that's it. I mean, it's easy, and it's on my YouTube channel at Eating Meat to Walk. And I go through what each part of it should look like. So I think pemmican has been a lifesaver for me.
Good stuff. Shout out Caleb too. Caleb's a young man doing carnivore, starting a YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel, Caleb's Carnivore Quest. Check him out at Caleb's Carnivore Quest. Got to talk to him in Arizona.
Look at the little icon in that picture there. That would think it was a picture with you there, Carrie.
I know. I didn't notice that till about a second ago. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Caleb. There we go.
Nice.
Put a name to the face. Bob Beater gifted 5 Homestead House memberships. Thank you so much, Bob. Really appreciate that. For those that are new here and don't know, all of the Homestead House memberships go 100% towards the documentary, every single penny from those. So we really appreciate that. Caleb has another question. Oh, this is a good one. What is your favorite way to cook eggs? I could talk about this subject for an hour. Every day I like them a little bit differently, but I'm really weird with the eggs. I like the egg yolks, and I've done this thing actually where I get rid of the whites. I don't know, it's kind of wasteful, but some people don't do good with the whites. I don't know if I don't do well with them, but I really love the yolks. So I do this thing called crispy egg yolks, where it's basically just the egg yolks, and I'll do it in a little bit of tallow. And it's still runny. I say crispy, so you think it's long, but I cook it really hot, really quick. You get a little crust around the edge of it, and you have a bunch of egg yolks. That's one of my favorite ways to do eggs, other than, of course, the Powerball, which is more scrambled. But do you guys have any egg cooking preferences?
I do. I recently, let's see, it was a couple months back, I got my Blackstone griddle, and there's no better egg than after you've cooked your bacon on there and you got all that, and then you take your scrambled eggs and you throw that and you cook that after, and you get all those little bits of the extra bacon that was left in there and some of the bacon fat mixed in with it. Oh, that's my absolute favorite, is cooking it on the griddle after I've done a big load of bacon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I used to love like sunny side up over the eggs where the yolk is runny. And I feel so sad now because I don't have anything to soak it up with. And because I'm not going to do bread, because I used to do toast or English muffin or something, or a bagel. But so now I just go lazy and do scrambled. But I definitely, I melt sometimes bacon fat and butter. And I use a lot so that it's like mixed all in with the egg. It's not just there to keep the egg from sticking. It becomes part of my scrambled eggs. And so, and salt, and I don't use pepper because pepper is higher histamine, but I do have a pepper grinder with pre-toasted black cumin seeds, which are peppery in taste. So I use those. They're low histamine. They're really good for histamine issues. So they turn out really good.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Caleb. We have another super chat from Gunther. For Lynn. Lynn, would you happen to know if 100% grass-fed ground lamb has less histamine than 100% grass-fed ground beef? If so, is it significantly less?
Good question. I don't know, to be honest. I know that ground and ground are both higher histamine. I eat lamb all the time. So I even combine the lamb and the beef, and I do eat the ground. So I wish I had the answer to that, but I don't.
All right. Let's see. Was there another super chat here? All right.
I just want to add a bit. Like, so when it comes to meat, the histamine is not it's less meat specific as it is freshness specific. And even though pork is tends to be a little higher in histamine, and fish tends to be a little higher in histamine, a lot of when it comes to other like ruminant meats, it's really just a matter of freshness, and it's get fresh as you can. And if you can handle the ground lamb, then and don't have any reaction to it, and you're do better than ground beef, then do the ground lamb.
All right. So currently, if you just jumped on, we're giving away a Redmond's salt shaker. Just post your question with #salt. #salt. All right. The next question we have, do you have a location for your PNW event coming up this summer?
Not a specific location. That's what I'm working on right now. We've got a couple of venues I'm looking at, but it's definitely going to be in the Seattle area. It'll be, within 30, 45 minutes of that area for sure. There's a couple different locations we're trying to finalize details on, but as soon as we know, make sure you are checking out healinghumanity.movie/events, and we will post that information there and probably announce it on this Thursday night live stream that we have as soon as we have details finalized. And PNW, I figured out, also means Pacific
Northwest.
Emily says, my husband has been diagnosed hypothyroidism with irregular and large nodules on his thyroid. We've been carnivore for 1 month. If benign, will carnivore shrink thyroid nodules?
So I've been carnivore for 10 months and I can still feel my nodule. So I would love to know the answer to that too. But I'm 10 months in and still have, my ultrasound still shows it's the same size.
I would read Dr. Brownstein's book, Iodine book. He does address that in that book. And so that would probably be a good first step, because iodine, practically everybody is iodine deficient. And when they set the recommended daily allowance for iodine, they are only the government recommended daily allowance. It is only enough to prevent goiter. It is not enough to meet your body's iodine needs. So that's a really good book. I would definitely read that. And I think that would be helpful. And then at the back of that book is a resource. There is information on, there's 2 labs in the US, at least if you're in the US, where you can order an iodine loading test. And it's like $70. It's more if you want to also check your bromide and your fluoride levels. But getting an iodine loading test will help you determine whether or not there's iodine deficiency. And iodine supplementation is known to shrink cysts, tumors, nodules, and the like. So that might be a good place to start.
All right. You might have kind of answered this question too, a little bit maybe. Do you guys take iodine? If so, what difference do you see in your body?
I take 20 milligrams a day, hoping to shrink a nodule, but I don't know that I see any difference if I forget to take it or not. Some people say they see huge differences.
Yeah, I think it varies. I take 25 milligrams of iodoral a day, and it does, however, take at least 6 months of taking an iodine supplement to really evaluate what it's going to do for you. I need to get my iodine loading test done. I have a kit, so I don't know if I'm still deficient. I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is to make sure you're taking enough. And I know that, when I've talked to Todd Bachnes, he takes 50 and he's no huge difference for himself. So I think how much you take is really dependent on your own individual base. For those of us who are taking it and aren't necessarily able to give an answer, it may be because perhaps we're not taking enough.
All right. Question from Matt. What is your opinion on blueberries or blackberries in the morning? I'll take this one quick. Not for me. I did keto diet for years and years, and I would have blueberries or blackberries or raspberries, and I couldn't moderate those things. I found out I'm an abstainer. If I would have a little bit of blueberry or blackberry, I would want more and more and more. And so on carnivore, I haven't had any of those things. I feel like if I would have some of those in the morning, I would probably be jonesing for some more sugar or carbohydrates a couple hours later. So for me, it's a no-go.
I would just say I have to be an abstainer. I know some people do the berries. You got to know yourself, obviously, but I know I can't do things that they become the main part of my meal. And I'd be eating them for noon, lunch, and dinner, and snacks in between. So.
All right. Let's see. We have a super chat from Michelle. I need a good way to make bone broth with lots of collagen. My first attempt in Instapot didn't turn out so great. Anyone have any tips on bone broth?
I wish I had a good tip, but that is one I'm right there with you, Michelle. I'm working on that myself. I want to come up with a good way of doing bone broth. My favorite, I call it carnivore coffee. It's not considered a bone broth, but I sure love to have the extra meat juices after I do a chuck roast, low and slow after that. And I save that. That helps me get through when I need something warm, but I don't have a good bone broth that I could tell you, but I will hope. Yeah. I hope to have a channel. I know there's other channels out there that definitely do. I don't know if anybody else has a recommendation.
I don't do bone broth. Yeah, and I don't do bone broth because it's high histamine, but I, like you, actually do meat broth. It tastes delicious. So, yeah, and it may be, I don't know about the lots of collagen part, but sometimes when I do broth, it's a matter of how much salt am I putting in it as to whether or not it tastes good. Sometimes if it's undersalted, it doesn't taste great.
Yes, I agree. And Carrie, after you did, remember you went and you had that incredible meal with the bone shanks, and I tried to mimic that. And actually, I felt like I did a pretty good job of it. It was a delicious meal, but I took all of those bones, and that was one of my first attempts at a bone broth. But I boiled that for a long time, tried to get as much of the collagen out of the bones and whatever else, and it definitely thickened up, but and it had a good flavor to it. I didn't know what I was doing, so I need to experiment. I want to play around with that a little bit more and see if I can come up with something good, because there's something to that for sure.
Yeah, I am missing. I wish I had a better answer too. I am missing some step because I attempted it after doing it with Mimi, and I was going to contact her to get some more tips on it. I've heard other people, like our friend Ronnie Campbell. She does a lot of bone broths where she'll like roast the bones ahead of time and then make them into a broth. I haven't tried that either. I know with the beef shanks, you get bone marrow out of them, which is really, really good.
That's what I meant. Yeah, bone marrow.
Yeah, so we were able to eat that with Mimi, which was the first time the girls and I did that. But I don't know. I'm with Ashley. I do the same thing. I don't do the bone broth, but I do the meat broth once a week, sometimes twice a week. We're always like slow cooking meat and adding a lot of extra water to it to get some of that soup afterwards, which it's been my go-to.
So good.
Thank you, Michelle. Let's see. Next question we have. Josie Miller. Will the carnivore diet help with Globus sensation?
I can take that one.
Oh, good, because I have no clue.
I have no idea what that is.
I'm glad you could, Lynn, because I know what it is, but I don't know the answer.
Often a Globus sensation is because of acid reflux, because your eustachian tube is one long tube and it's all innervated, and it's basically one continuous system from your here all the way down. You may have something going on as far as, lots of times it's acid reflux that you don't necessarily feel it like acid reflux, but you feel it as a Globus sensation in your throat. That said, if you have not had an upper endoscopy, or if you don't know that it's acid reflux, very often, a doctor will want you to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist to make sure, and you get your thyroid checked, make sure that you don't have any nodules or growths going on here, and make sure it's not something else an ear, nose, and throat doctor would address, would need to address. But if it is, very typically it's going to be an acid reflux issue. So if you're new to carnivore, then it's a matter of getting your stomach acid adjusted. So I definitely would start out maybe a little lower on the fat and allow yourself time to get fat adapted and get your stomach acid adjusted to digesting the fats. I can tell you honestly that I did have issues with Globus sensation because of gastric reflux, and the carnivore diet did help me. So I know from personal experience it helped me. But I would definitely monitor it. And if you know it's acid reflux, then just follow the recommendations. But if you don't know yet, get it checked out and make sure that it's not something else.
All right. Okay, next question we have. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any here. Question, have you heard of someone with Addison's disease and adrenal disease being helped with the carnivore diet? I have not. Anyone else here?
Not personally, but it is an autoimmune disease. And I know that autoimmune disease are helped, There's got to be people out there with Addison's disease that are helped. It's that whole concept of if we don't need individual, different diets for each body part. Your body needs one type of diet. So if this is the proper human diet, it's going to be beneficial for whatever body part is a problem for you. So again, just like any other, autoimmune disease, you want to be looking at, probably a stricter low histamine lion diet. But I bet you anything, if you search YouTube for Addison's disease and carnivore, you'd probably find somebody.
I was going to make that suggestion. I think I've discovered you can YouTube carnivore and anything, and you can find a video for it.
Yes.
That's funny.
And don't
That's
ask
exactly what I was doing.
GPT. Yeah, don't ask ChatGPT because it'll tell you to eat vegetables.
Chris Stern says, I get Globus sensation from the idea of eating bait. Nice.
Yes. Chris says that bait and sardines are bait. So
yeah. Somebody earlier was talking about sardines, and that's what he said was bait.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chris. Chris is awesome. Always makes me laugh. Yeah. All right. Next question we have. Mike B. Where is the YouTube video I can watch for pemmican?
It is at Eating Meat to Walk. And that it's a link down below.
Yeah. If you don't want to type it in, you can just click it in the description and make sure you subscribe at Eating Meat to Walk.
And it's actually called Making Pemmican.
Nice. Stevie Wood said, I've been on carnivore for 2 weeks and haven't really lost anything. Any helpful advice?
Don't worry about it one bit.
Right.
Don't worry about it one bit. That's I think probably it's weird how some people lose a lot of weight real fast. A lot of times it's water weight and things like that, but others don't lose anything immediately. But don't worry about that. It's not about the weight loss, but two, your body's going through a transformation the first couple of weeks. There's a lot of things happening there, and you'll start, if you're going to experience weight loss or you have a lot of extra weight to lose, you'll start experiencing that soon enough.
Yep. The only thing I would add
definitely very early on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The only thing I would add is just make sure, because sometimes people say I'm doing carnivore, and there's different types of carnivore. If you started carnivore and you're doing cheese, technically that's carnivore, but if you're eating a ton of cheese, that might be causing some issues. But 2 weeks is really, really early, like they said. So give it some more time.
And honestly, sometimes at the beginning, when you're transitioning over to carnivore, if you're eating cheese to help you not eat other non-carnivore stuff, I don't think that that's okay if it's helping you transition over, but if you're looking at weight loss, it definitely could could prevent weight loss. But I would say too, measure yourself. I mean, you're only 2 weeks into it. So take some measurements and, so you can keep track, because the scale isn't always a reliable thing to look at. You got to look at, how do your clothes fit? What are your measurements? And have patience, like Dr. Wiedemann says, vitamin P.
I agree though about the measurements, because as you start eating the proper human diet, your bones get heavier, your tendons get heavier, your ligaments, everything is getting stronger, because you're finally feeding it the right food and not the wrong food. So the scale can be deceiving when you're dropping inches, but you're not making any change on the scale. And my husband didn't see a huge scale change until we were over 6 months into it. But he would drop pant sizes, just didn't see a huge change in the scale.
Yeah, there's going to be composition changes for sure.
Question: has any one of you worked with anybody that was diagnosed with dysautonomia?
I have dysautonomia. So, yes, worked with myself. So, a lot of times people with dysautonomia, it's POTS and, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I have kind of a milder version of it, which is orthostatic intolerance. And I have found that I have to make sure I have plenty of sodium, and do make sure I'm doing more exercises. But I have found that it is slowly getting better. It's not as bad. I used to feel like I was going to pass out within maybe 30 seconds to a minute of standing in one place. And now I can stand a lot longer. I realized I did have to sit down at my presentation in Phoenix at the meetup, but I had been standing for like 40 minutes prior to that. So that was huge. So it can get better. It really just it's all very individual, but yes, it definitely can get better. It's just another dysfunction of the body that needs healing. It's your nervous system and breathing. And, there's other things that you can do too with your breathing. If you try like box breathing, which is really helpful for your autonomic nervous system. It's helpful to help your parasympathetic nervous system. So there's more than one thing to do when it comes to dysautonomia. But my core exercises, doing planks, is awesome for dysautonomia, because a lot of times the doctor will say, wear compression stockings, wear an abdominal binder. Planks, when I did my plank challenge last January, that is when I saw the greatest improvement in my orthostatic tolerance, strengthening that core. All
right. We are going to be doing a drawing for a Redmond salt shaker in just a minute. So there's still a chance if you want to enter #salt with your question. And the next question we have is from CJ. How long does it take for the aches and flu-like symptoms to go away? I'm not doing this for weight loss. I'm doing this for inflammation reduction.
Yeah, so I'll start with that one. And that is, it's going to be somewhat different for everybody, but generally it's within the first couple of weeks. It depends where you're coming from and how standard American diet you are. If you slowly kind of has been into keto for a little while and maybe transitioning to a lower carb diet ahead of time, it will be a shorter distance if that's the case. But if you're just coming straight from the standard American diet, depending on what you were eating and now transitioning straight to carnivore, sometimes those aches, flu symptoms can last a couple of weeks. And I've heard as long as a month or so with that as well. So, but it does go away. It does definitely get better for sure.
And this is where you need to do the electrolytes, or at least add salt to your water, and make sure you're drinking more water, because we don't realize how much water we get from eating fruits and vegetables. And so when you stop eating those and you go to just eating the meat and fat, you need to make sure you're getting plenty of water. And so most of those flu-like symptoms come from dehydration and not getting enough sodium. And absolutely rest, get plenty of rest. Don't try to push yourself in exercise when you're going through this. Give yourself plenty of rest.
Hey, we have another person here. Dr. Nelson, how's it going?
Hey.
Going okay.
Dr.
Good night,
Nelson.
everybody.
Hello.
Great. We need you for some of these questions, Dr. Nelson. I apologize. I didn't send you the invite earlier. I had some technical issues on my side. Glad to see you here, though.
I'm in Boca Raton. I was at the low carb event here in Boca Raton, and I saw the invite while I was there, but I just got to the room.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you dropping by. Let's see. Here's a question. 66 years young. Have you had any success in trying to help recover from long COVID, dysautonomia, carnivore for 10 months?
Yeah.
These
I mean,
are
you answered the dysautonomia, but
yeah, these are chronic conditions, long COVID. They're still trying to figure out what is it that causes the long COVID exactly, because the infection is really gone. But it does take a long time. However, if you're carnivore, you're probably not doing anything that's going to cause inflammation and make things worse. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell you, probably a lot of vitamin P is necessary.
yeah. Dr. Nelson, have you heard the theory that long COVID is mast cell activation syndrome?
It's what?
Have you heard the theory that long COVID is actually, in a lot of cases, mast cell activation syndrome?
I've heard several explanations, that being one of them. It's at the moment, I don't really have any quick fixes, but if you're keeping in that diet that is really uninflammatory or anti-inflammatory, you probably have the best chances of eventually recovering. Just like, this could be some sort of autoimmune condition, and it hasn't been really detected with antibodies. But again, just patience and staying consistent with avoiding anything inflammatory, and carnivore diet is the best I know.
Yeah, and maybe go low histamine diet and see if that helps.
If some people may have these things and not notice any reactions right away, and sometimes it's worth a try. I mean, if you think you become more sensitive to histamine, go in a couple of medications that you can find over the counter. It's a good trial. I would try to avoid using steroids. Some doctors might have the tendency to say, okay, well, let's just give you a course of steroids. That is a possibility if it's a significant crimp on your style, so to speak. If it's causing, particularly the fatigue, causing a lot of problem, or there is pain associated. But I would try to avoid steroids if possible.
Yeah, so an H1, H2 blocker might be a good place to start, just to see if that helps.
Get some loratadine, get some Pepsid, famotidine, and give it a trial for at least a couple of weeks, and you might notice a difference.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. It's about that time. We got to do a quick drawing for a $20 travel size Redmond salt keychain. We are giving one of those away right now to, drum roll, here we go. Jeep 44XHI, congratulations. You have won a Redmond's travel size salt shaker, and you can redeem that at healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Dr. Nelson has one right there on the screen.
Never leave home without it.
Don't leave home without it. I was just joking, Dr. Nelson. Every time I leave home, I forget to bring it, and then I'm cursing myself. Why do I always forget? Congratulations, Jeep 44. Thank you so much. We're going to do one more giveaway.
Are you missing Adam's announcer voice yet?
Yeah, you want to take over for him?
No.
/giveaway to claim that prize. We're going to do one more giveaway, and that is for a 30-day free membership to healinghumanity.life. So if you have any more questions, post them real quick with #life. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen. And then you first have to subscribe to each one of the individuals on the call today. There's a link in the description for all of these awesome individuals, including Dr. Nelson. Just click on the little link and subscribe to them. And let's see, what's the next question we have here is, oops, didn't mean to click on that one. Here we go. The next question we have is from Josephine. Do you all eat pork other than bacon? What other cuts of pork do you enjoy?
I only eat bacon.
Yeah, me too.
We do occasionally. We do. I love a pulled pork, and because I love to smoke foods, and so we do a pork shoulder or pork butt, big piece of meat, and smoke it for a couple of hours. And I'm telling you, you get that to the right temperature, and you literally, I can poke it with my finger and it falls apart. It's amazing. Pull that bone out. It's nice and crisp. That's delicious. It's got a lot of fat in it. So and it's always a great crowd pleaser too. When you're having company over, that's one of those meats you can serve and almost everybody loves it. So highly recommend that. And then I also do pork loin. I like pork loin. I cut those up and make my own little pork chops and just grill them like a steak.
Nice. I
went to Fogo de Chao on Sunday and had pork belly. I don't usually eat that, but they had pork belly. It was amazing.
Nice. I had pork loin recently. Shout out Emma the Carnivore, my daughter.
There you go.
Well, Laura Spath gave us this recipe where you slice up pork loin really, really thin, and then you dehydrate it, and it makes little pork meat chips. I don't know if Emma posted it. She's gonna be posted on her channel. It was really, really good. Laura Spath gave me and Adam 2 containers of it, and I ate all of mine, and then I started eating Adam's until he saw that I was eating it, and he took it back. So, will we be doing any meetups in Southern California?
We need to.
I know that one's on the radar.
It is.
Definitely on the radar. Nothing official yet, but hopefully, stay tuned. Lisa said, would love to see some kind of meetup in Alaska when you come to see Bill. That would be incredible. I get a big smile on my face thinking of Bill going to one of these meetups and just getting surrounded by people. And yeah, absolutely. If Bill's open to it, I'm open to it.
Everyone start saving up your money to go to Alaska.
Yeah, we're going to get a caravan up to
show
Alaska.
Bill lots of love.
Right? Get a couple buses full of people up there.
Could we do like a carnivore cruise with Dr. Lisa up to Alaska and then travel over and do the meetup with Bill? Like,
that'd be incredible.
That'd be awesome.
Laura has a question. I lost over 100 pounds taking Wegovy and eating keto. Just stopped taking Wegovy and started carnivore. I can't eat much and can't handle very much fat. Hoping it will get better with time. Any advice?
Again, you have to be consistent, and please incorporate exercise as much as you can, because with the GLP-1s, a lot of the weight loss, at least half of the weight loss, is from muscle. I've seen some studies up to 66, 67%, 2/3 of the weight loss might be muscle, not necessarily fat. And then when you regain the weight, which if you stay on a strict keto or carnivore, you might be able to keep the weight off. But if you regain the weight, you're going to regain more fat than muscle, because that's what happens. No matter what the diet is that you stop and go back, that's one of the problems with yo-yo dieting. So you need to add some resistance exercise and try to build up the muscle. By the way, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be with Dr. Kills in his live in the morning. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but maybe we'll have something in the afternoon as well.
Nice.
Okay.
That's exciting. I'll be watching. All right. Next question we have, or a comment from Stephanie. Husband just verified at 75. His eyesight has improved and his ophthalmologist is shocked. She has never seen what is believed to be natural aging reversed. They want to see the documentary. Wow, that's
Love
incredible.
it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. I'll say it again real quick. I'm trying to put together a big video of people who have improved their eyesight through carnivore, because there's a lot of documented in their medical records examples from that, which is pretty amazing. A lot of people, usually you don't improve your vision. It usually, as you get older, it gets worse and worse. So it's pretty cool to see that. Question from Aaron Carey, not trying to be negative. Are you concerned with the food industry coming after you once your documentary becomes successful? I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I should be. I try not to concern myself with things I don't have control over. There's nothing I can really do if that happens. So I'm really only focused on what I can control right now.
Carrie, that will be a badge of honor.
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, if they come after you, that means we're doing something right.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Question from Dean. I'm trying to break a stall with a dry fast. Any idea how long it should be? I don't know if anyone has anything on that. I would say in terms of dry fasting, that's a tricky area. I would make sure that you're doing all of your research before you're doing a dry fast. I know several individuals that have done dry fasts, and the biggest advice I've heard from them is to ease into it. Do little shorter fasts before you go into sort of a longer one. So it really depends on your past experience, I would say, maybe with fasting and what you've done in the past. But I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on that one.
Depending on how
Never done
much
a dry
fasting
fast.
he's done before, I think that wouldn't be the first thing I try if I've never fasted. But if he's used to fasting, give it a try. The longest I've done is 42 hours with not dry fast. I did it in the middle of a 3-day fast, but the first 42 were dry.
What's that book, Carrie? Phoenix Protocol?
Yeah, I always tell people, if you're interested in dry fasting, read that book. There's some really good information in there, so you can at least educate yourself on it. But I have a video coming out probably next week with our friend Lauren Tucker from the UK, who's in our documentary. And she's done a lot of different types of fasting, and she just completed a 7-day dry fast, which is pretty crazy. But she did a 24-hour dry fast for like, I think, a year. She did like a 3-day, and she really built up to that one. She's got her own YouTube channel. I'll leave a link down below for it. I always mess up her YouTube channel because she changed the name a couple times, but she's doing a whole video on her 7-day dry fast, and it's really cool because she kept very good records of everything.
Is she the farmer?
Farmer's Wife, Carnivore Life. Yeah, that used to be her channel's name. Coach Lisa. Hey, Coach Lisa.
Hey,
Coach Lisa's awesome. Coach Lisa's going to be out in Tampa along with Dr. Nelson as well. Looking forward to seeing Coach Lisa out there. I know my wife Jen is as well. Coach Lisa's been a huge help to Jen.
And she's coming back as an expert on healinghumanity.life.
Oh, nice.
Yay. When is that, Lynn?
Oh, you know what? I should probably have that information before I share that, right?
Oh, no worries.
That's the next question, right?
Stay
I
tuned.
know.
It'll be on a Wednesday.
Upcoming.
Yep. Question from Bernschwag. Where's the best resource to find out more information on histamines? I have autoimmune disease.
Well, you can watch my video as far as if you're looking at histamines, and what they are, what they cause, how you feel with them, and then also how to eat low histamine carnivore. I have a whole video on my channel where I go into a lot of detail on that topic. And I also provide a very good resource. It is put out by the Swiss Interest Group. And if you look up Swiss Interest Group histamine list, there's a PDF that's free. It's available out there online. Is the most comprehensive list I've ever been able to find. And the Mast Cell Society promotes it as being the active list.
And if you missed Lynn's channel, it's Midlife Carnivore.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah. Link in the description too, so you can just click it. Carnivore Coach Lisa, may you please bring 2 sweatshirts for Ken and I to Tampa, large or small? I will try to. I don't know if we have any sweatshirts left. We'll definitely be bringing T-shirts. I don't know if we have any sweatshirts. Jen may have a couple. I just took a picture of this, and I'll ask Jen to see if we have a few. All right. Question, what causes excess diarrhea? I'm carnivore for almost 11 months now, and it's happening more often than is fun.
So too much fat, too much rendered fat can be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never trust a fart.
No, I've definitely heard that too. A lot of times, and I don't know, Globus, what you're doing there. If you are eating a lot of rendered fat, that's something you can definitely cut back on and eat it. Still get your fat in, but you know, Dr. Kiltz would recommend even trying it barely cooked or even raw.
And I like what Adam does. He said he cuts it up real small, like pill size, and freezes it and takes it like a pill. So if you want to get your fat in without, and hopefully fix the diarrhea, that might be a good option.
Right. All I have to do is look at rendered fat and I have diarrhea. I don't even have to like put it in my body. So I eat cold butter with all of my food and everything because I just still don't tolerate rendered fat. And I've been at it 11 months, almost 11 months.
Yeah. And take a look at the dairy too. I don't know if you're eating dairy or not, but some people are real sensitive to dairy.
And coffee is a laxative.
It's a gut stimulant. Yes.
So if you're drinking coffee, and there are certain medications that are also laxative or have a laxative effect. So depending on what you're taking, check them out.
Question from Ancient Carnivore, $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Can you recommend any video or channel that talks about severe food addiction? Doesn't have to be a carnivore channel or influencer.
I have a suggestion. HealingHumanity.live as a food addiction group.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a breaking addictions group that goes, we use the 12 steps. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like if you're looking for carnivore, carnivore when it comes to addiction, doesn't Dr. Wiedemann do a lot with addiction or talk a lot about addiction?
I was just going to say that's the only one I can think of. She really hammers that point home. So Dr. Lisa Wiedemann is the only one I could think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it doesn't have to be carnivore, then yeah, I mean, there's probably a ton out there.
Dr. Tro and Dr. Boss both talk about addiction. They're both keto. Dr. Tro is almost carnivore, but I think he's keto. But they see patients where they have to try to accommodate them all. But Dr. Boss definitely is very strong on addiction. I don't know if she has any support group for addiction.
Yeah.
But she does have a lot of videos.
Yeah, we also have a course on Healing Humanity Life called Healing from Food Addiction that was put together by a university professor that teaches on addiction. So if you are a member of our membership site, check out that course.
I wonder if Coach Lisa deals with food addiction or not. I know she was there. She just asked a question.
Right. Coach Lisa, do you do anything with food addiction? Let us know in the chat. Thank you, Ancient Carnivore. And then Gunther, this is a follow-up question on histamine. I do a lion diet. I add fat trimmings, lamb and beef to get enough fat. Do lamb and beef fat trimmings have histamine? If so, is it a significant amount?
Well, are you having a reaction?
I would go by
Lynn,
that.
You're the expert on this, but
But you're right. You're right. I would definitely go by, Guy, what are your symptoms? It sounds like possibly you might be still having symptoms and trying to figure out what it is. I it has to do with freshness. So I know personally the fat from the beef and lamb didn't cause me any problems. To my knowledge, there isn't a significant amount as far as in the actual fat. So yeah, not that I'm aware of. So it could be too how you're cooking it. So like slow cooker is going to be a little more histamine generating. I definitely hope, you're not smoking it. Smoking is definitely higher histamine. But if you're just doing regular, I don't know if you're doing ground, but ground is high histamine. But if you're just doing like lamb steaks, beef, the fat, shouldn't be a problem. Unless you're burning it, sometimes can be higher in histamine, so that's a possibility.
Target prime rib, $2 just because. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Oh, I did that one already. We have another one from Aaron Ross. I'm type 2 diabetic. Found out about carnivore through my doctor, who was so bent on meds until he became convinced. So the word is out.
Yay.
Nice. Awesome. Is it Dr. Nelson? Dr. Hampton? Good stuff. Thank you, Aaron. Target prime rib. Question, do you think the 20 gallons of prune juice is a problem?
Is that for the diarrhea question?
I think that was the diarrhea question, yeah. All right. We're going to be doing the final drawing here in just a minute for win a free 30 days at healinghumanity.life. So if you have any more, post #life real quick so you can get entered to win that when we do the drawing. And we have one more question here from Mandy. Thoughts on NAD plus home injection for years of illness? Lion for 4 years.
I don't know what NAD is.
Anyone on that one?
Nicotinamide, something?
Yeah, I just Googled it. You're right, Dr. Nelson. I'm not that familiar. I don't know. I can't answer this. I don't know. But NAD, I think, is something with anti-aging or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Nicotinamide.
I used to be a supplement expert, 20 years ago, and slowly have. If you eat right, you might not need to have any supplement. Because there's not a lot of money to be made by big companies. There are no big studies done on these things. And very small studies, sometimes it's not the proper study. Sometimes there's not a lot of literature. And even if there is, it's very poorly controlled studies, basically. On a lot of, I'm not saying it doesn't work. Try it if you think it's going to help you, but eat the fatty meat.
Yeah, so it is the nicotinamide, adenine dinucleotide, a coenzyme that's supposed to help with cellular metabolism.
All right. Last question from Joshua. Good evening, guys. Carnivore for 45 days now, 26 pounds down. Ketone levels seem to be lower than the first 30 days, and the weight loss has stopped. Any suggestions?
So how are you checking your ketones? I guess that would be the first thing, because if you're doing urine strips, they're probably not going to be showing up anymore. So are you checking it with a ketone meter?
That particular scenario, which is true, your acetoacetate goes down in the urine, but it's not that you're not producing them. By the way, beta-hydroxybutyrate is not the most active ketone. It is acetoacetate. Ketones are measured in the breath, little machines. Acetoacetate is the one in the urine. Beta-hydroxybutyrate is the one that Keto Mojo measures.
Yeah.
But this scenario happens a lot.
Yeah. 26 pounds in 45 days is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes. So it may be that your body is
that's-
just saying, hey, chill for a little bit and let me adjust to this. And so I wouldn't get discouraged because that's unbelievable to lose that much weight in 45 days.
He also said
almost a
yes,
pound per
urine
day.
strips. He also agreed it was urine strips, so that's probably why.
Yeah, the excretion will decrease because now your body has learned how to use and respond to ketones, and it's going to be using them more effectively. At least that's the theory behind it. But if you're being carnivore, be consistent.
Yeah. 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 No, the weight loss is really commendable for sure in that period of time. So I would say don't get discouraged, and your body's gonna sometimes has to sit there for a little bit and get used to that significant weight drop.
We never lose in a completely linear manner. It's going to be up and downs and plateaus. And if you're consistent, eventually you'll break through.
All right. Good stuff. Well, we're at the end of the hour here. We're going to do the final giveaway for the 30-day free membership to healinghumanity.life. So let's pick a winner here. Let's see. #life. Drum roll. The winner, 30 days, free, healinghumanity.life. And again, if you didn't win, you can get 50% off your first month. Link in the description. Partin DN is the winner. And you can claim that prize at healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Congratulations. Thank you all so much for all of your questions. Thank you so much to each of you for joining us. Lynn at Midlife Carnivore, Ashley Carnivore Brothers, Dr. Nelson at The Real Dr. Nelson, and Renee at Eating Meat to Walk. There is a link in the description. So go follow, support all these guys, subscribe, like their content, share. You guys have anything else you want to shout out or mention before we wrap up?
I would say for those who won the free 1-month membership, if you are already a Healing Humanity Life member, we're going to have to just send you a t-shirt. So hopefully those of you who won are not members yet. But if you are, still go to the website, to the giveaway, fill out the form, but instead let us know, I'm already a member. Give us your t-shirt size and your address so that we can send you a free t-shirt.
Awesome.
Don't forget the Tampa meetup.
I was just going to say, if you want to meet Dr. Nelson in person, live and in person, February 8th, Tampa meetup. There's
Tampa
the info.
meetup. And if you want to learn more, it is kiltsmeetup.com. MEATUP, kiltsmeetup.com. So it's selling out quick. If you want to join, you better do it quick before it run out of tickets. So.
And then come to Texas, March 8th. Austin, Texas is the next one with Healing Humanity. Carrie will be there live and in person. We've got Nia from Nia's Way. We've got Lauren Knight Hughes that's going to be there, and the list is growing. So more details to come very soon. March 8th, Austin, Texas.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you all so much. Everyone have a good night. See you on the next one.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.